And when you find that purpose and you start moving in that direction, life becomes extremely fun.
It was a spiritual freedom that we were almost after, leaving college after 2 months.
Gotta grab life by the fucking balls, bro. Own that shit.
But what were you saying about Argentina?
It's a great place.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Why'd you leave?
Socialism, brother. Inflation.
Fair. It was a fair point. You want to go really bad, though.
Yeah, I want to live there. But I could totally...
you want to live there with your dollar.
Exactly. Like, I could totally understand being from there. There's just not the same opportunity. It's very bureaucratic.
I'm making a move out to Bali.
Okay.
I'm going to do what I call staycations. So when I go is I find a country every single year and I'll just spend like 2 to 3 months there as a to-go-to place. Last year I did Croatia. I spent 3 months in Croatia, just like living in a house, meeting the locals, like being part of the culture. It's pretty fire.
Nice.
And this year I'm going to do Bali, just kind of
That's dope.
seeing what it's like to live in other spots.
There.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. But the issue is if you're an American, taxes follow you anywhere you go.
Yeah.
Like people say Bali and all this stuff, but brother, Uncle Sam will get his coin whether you like it or not. So
One way or another.
So the best alternative is Puerto Rico, but then obviously what I said about opportunity cost.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to a buddy of mine who was also moved to Puerto Rico. He was one of the first guys that ever moved there. And I was talking to him the other day. I was like, yo, was it worth it? Was the move worth it because of taxes, whatever? He's like, well, let me tell you something. At the same time that I did the move to Puerto Rico for my 0% tax, one of my co-founders, or a guy that I was doing business with, decided to stay in Texas, right? And he built a company because he had access to more people, more connections, more information. And yeah, he ended up paying more in taxes, but he had made more than my buddy because of the positioning that he had kind of taken advantage of. Yeah. Whereby, yeah, you save money on taxes, but what's the opportunity cost? What are you leaving on the table as opposed to the taxes? And that's why taxes shouldn't always be the metric as to why you do something.
Yeah,
that's the whole purpose of it. You should be beyond.
I've seen a lot of people talk
tax bill. Yeah,
a lot of people, like Hormozy was talking about that. I think Cardone's talked about it before.
It's all about strategy. It's all about strategy, how you place yourself, how you move. And it's always kind of knowing where you want to go. People kind of just bounce back off of the opinions of other people. Like, oh, you should go here because of this. And people make these crazy decisions whereby they don't have a final goal or outcome.
Yeah.
And if you reverse engineer your entire goal, you already have ahead of time what you want to do in life. And you operate based off of that. So Puerto Rico for me is a strategic move based off of what I did in my career, right? Like at 0% capital gains tax. Sure, I'll spend 4 years in Puerto Rico because it makes sense for me.
Crypto.
Correct. But another person, it may not make sense to pay less than 16%, 20% less tax because they could lose massive opportunity here.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Usually the guys that are out there are the guys that are going for like huge exits or already have like a big operating system.
Yeah.
Going for like $1 million, $2 million. I wouldn't say it's worth it. Like it's paradise, but it's also an island. So you have the limitations of what it means to live on an island. It's pretty sick.
Before we keep going, kind of want to intro how this pod started, who our guest is today.
Yeah.
We have Mr. Luke Belmar with us. And this just kind of happened. It's funny because you this morning, someone like tagged us and was like, you guys got to get Luke Belmar on. Okay. I follow him. That's cool. And then you tweeted it maybe a couple hours later. And I was like, oh shit. He's in Miami, whatever. Let's set it up. And you were like, dude, I got today. This is it.
Yeah, I literally have today. I'm just in Miami because it's the only place where you can actually pit stop to go back to Puerto Rico or to leave Puerto Rico. So this is kind of the pit stop every couple days.
I love it. Yeah, it was super funny because I was on a boat yesterday and drinking a little bit. I'm a little bit hungover today, just for
you look good, bro. No worries.
Transparency. But I woke up this morning, up a little bit later, whatever, and woke up still pretty early, like 7:45. And I wake up and do my thing, and then when I check my phone, I have a DM, and it's like a long time follower. He'd been in my DMs for a while, and he DM'd me. He's like, dude, Luke Belmar's in Miami. You should get him on the pod. Like your guys' content and his content's like changed my life. It would be such a cool pod. I would love to see it. And then I reposted it and tagged you. I was like, yo, you down? Like, I feel like it's really useful when it's very organic like that, and people are like almost making the connection for us.
The communities understand where the synergy lies, which is good.
100%. And so it's just, then you posted the tweet, and here we are. 4 hours later.
I'm super curious how this internet persona of yours kind of developed because it's almost like you came out of nowhere a little bit in the past like maybe 6 months. Your first YouTube video was what 4 or 5 months ago or something. I was checking it out, and you're kind of a newer name to the space. A lot of these guys, that post this stuff have been out there, but you're decently big, right? Like a couple 100,000 followers every platform, and you just kind of popped up almost out of nowhere. So like, what's that story? Like, what's behind that?
So, have you heard the story of the bamboo?
No.
So the bamboo spends its first 5 years growing under the earth,
Uh-huh.
but it's still growing. And then
Yep.
within 5 weeks, it shoots up yards and yards up in the sky. Nobody saw it coming, but the bamboo knew that in due time things would occur. So I've been around.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I've just been underground.
It's kind of like us. So
So
we haven't been posting like that until now.
it's seasons, you know.
Yeah.
It's understanding that there's a time and place for everything, and there's a time and place for to open up your mouth and speak, and there's a time to work. And I wanted to be in a situation where I didn't have what is commonly known as imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
which is this lack of belief in oneself. So what I needed to do was go on my quest and earn that self-respect that allowed me to open up my mouth, and not based off of what other people say or what other people think I am, but who I believe that I am, who I believe that I become because of my career. So I spent the first couple years under the ground, like the bamboo, and now we're just enjoying the ride.
I love it.
We'll see where we go.
I love it. And how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
27.
27. Okay. And it's because I was watching some of your stuff. Like he called me, he's like, "Hey, we're gonna do this pod." I was cool. And so I'm watching some of your stuff. Just I always like to get some background info. And like there was a podcast clip on TikTok where you kind of went through your whole story of 16 leaving Argentina. We were talking about Argentina because it's amazing if you have dollars. And you left at 16. Like when did things really pop off for you with all the trading stuff or ecom? Like what year? How old were you?
Yeah, so I was telling one of my buddies, we were sitting down and talking, and utilizing this concept of what time is,
Mm-hmm.
and this idea that like I made it on a specific time frame or on a specific date. There's no such thing as making it. It's more so like there wasn't this initial success.
Mm-hmm.
It was I'm in this journey that I started the moment I was born, right? So that's the moment the quest started. I know it sounds crazy, but that's when you need to reverse engineer what your entire life has been and how everything is lined up to be who you are today. Because everything where you are today is where you chose to be,
Yeah.
right? And it was your choice whether it was your subconscious mind or your conscious mind doing it. So to answer your question, the journey's been ever since I felt like an anomaly, right? You look at the school system, you see how people operate, and you realize that something isn't clicking.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you just forge your own path.
100%.
So yeah, I came to America at the age of 16, started pressure washing basketball courts, cleaning toilets, working in kitchens.
Were you
And
alone?
yeah, I was alone.
Okay.
I was alone, had $200, but it was worth it. And at the end of the day, like, what do you have to lose? What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to die. Like, you're going to die anyway. Like, the outcome is the same for everybody. So why not just go for it? And I went for it and it worked. And for a lot of people, it doesn't work. I think the big differentiator is the self-education process of not only introducing new information that the school system doesn't give you, or that your parents don't give you, or that the system doesn't give you, but also that the detox process of all the stuff that you've been taught that is wrong,
Yeah.
right? Because you look at people's day-to-day behaviors and you start realizing that a lot of why people are where they are today is because of their subconscious behavior. You look at all the programming, like people think that laziness or not doing your task or not picking up a book or not exercising is 100% their fault. No, there's something called conditioning.
Yes.
Right? There's something called conditioning, and people have been conditioned to lose. And it's from that conditioning that you must kind of unlock yourself to then recondition your mind. Because if you don't program yourself, somebody will program you.
So
So it's a long journey, right?
Yeah,
It's
no.
the forever journey.
I'm curious who you think is conditioning people. Is it an agenda? Is there a purpose behind it? Is it just happening, right? Is it lack of awareness, or is there like some intention there?
There's this law of the universe known as the law of correspondence that talks about as above, so below. And it's this idea that as things appear in the spiritual realm, they manifest themselves in the physical realm. So what we see in the world today is merely a physical manifestation of the spiritual condition of the world. So it's not a money problem. It's not a person problem. It's a fundamental problem in the spiritual condition of the world. And it manifests itself through the insanity that takes place in the world. So through this concept, we understand that it's not a physical problem. Money isn't the root of all evil. It's not the problem. The root of all evil is your inability to wield that thing and allowing that thing to control you and run your life. And that's why you have everything in the world being run by money, conditioned by money, greed. And yeah, my opinion is more like a spiritual problem. I wouldn't pinpoint it to a specific individual.
That's super
I
deep.
would say it is that we are just as guilty as everybody else. And when you assume that responsibility, then you realize that you also have the responsibility to change, and that you are that change around you. And it's all based off of this understanding of energy and vibrational frequencies, that you have to be at a higher vibration, therefore controlling the tempo of the environment, therefore changing what's happening around.
To me, it almost sounds like the reason you're jumping on, our podcast or trying to grow on social media and doing it successfully, right, is because you want to be that change and you want to put that vibration out. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's this understanding that you don't know what you don't know, and to disdain people and to shun people based off of their life choices, whether they're good or bad. We see a lot of people bashing other people online.
Yeah.
Dude, a lot of these motherfuckers don't know any better. They don't know any better. They need help. They need guidance. They need direction. And if you can not tell them something, not tell them what to do, but guide them through a process of what? Of logic, of self-exploration, of questioning, of finding truth, then that person now has what? Hope. And hope is what a person needs to move forward in life. And what a lot of people don't have is hope. So if you can instill a little bit of hope, and that sometimes means you have to shock people into reality, then I think it's a worthy ideal.
100%. I think a lot of people tend to, especially when you try to break out of these things, especially like the money conditioning, and have some self-agency, some sovereignty, and you have your own stuff. I feel like it puts a lot of people on a path where they kind of lose the empathy required to do that, and it becomes a very egoic thing. It's like there, to break your beliefs that you can be better, like there is some aspect of thinking you are better than something or having a standard, but I think a lot of people do lose the empathy required to really like hold that principle true. You know what I mean?
I agree. I think it's important to know why you do what you do. Why, like, okay, you're going to make money. Why are you making money? Like, why are you here? Or are you just a drone? Everybody's out here calling everybody else a bot, but they don't look at themselves in the mirror.
So true.
Like, it's so easy to call somebody else a bot and not look at yourself in the mirror and be like, yo, that was pretty body, dude. Nobody does that. Nobody holds themselves to the same standard that they want to hold other people to. So that's kind of how I've been operating. Is I treat myself with a lot of respect and grace, and I speak a lot to myself. And in these questions that you ask me, I try to understand at a deeper level, what does it mean? What do these questions mean? Not this first initial superficial like response that people have. It's really meditating on what's the purpose of your life? Like, why are you doing what you're doing today? Because after everything's said and done, the opinions of other people, the opinions of the people on the internet, the opinions of your parents, the opinions of anybody around you, your accolades, your success, the medals that you've earned, the plaques, none of it matters. Yeah. None of it matters. What matters is when you look at yourself in the mirror, right? What do you see?
Yeah. When
you're lying on your deathbed and you're literally by yourself, you and you, what's the conversation that you're having about the life that you lived? Like, was it dope? Was it proper? Like, well done? Or nah, you fucked up, man. I don't want to live that life. I want to end, and I don't know what that looks like. Does that mean I'm a billionaire? No, that doesn't mean I'm a billionaire. That means I'm a man that lives with purpose. And the problem isn't that people are rich or not rich, is that people don't know why they're awake. They don't know why they're alive. And when you find that purpose and you start moving in that direction, life becomes extremely fun.
100%.
It's super interesting that every episode we have with someone that's maybe ascended a little bit, the echelons of maybe social media, Iman and Sneeko and yourself, and we had Jared Getz on recently, who he used to work for. I don't know if you know that name, ecom dropshipping, but they all of you guys, and us as well. It's kind of like refreshing because all of you guys talk about the spiritual elements of this whole thing, the spiritual elements of life, making money, whatever, and the spiritual aspects of it, and why. Like that's really what this game is. It's like it's an energy game, a frequency game, a spiritual game.
I agree. I agree. I mean, the world is not a physical place. The world is a spiritual place. How you are interacting right now with reality is based off of how your brain is processing reality. But that doesn't mean that that's what reality is. Maybe you're limited by your senses, right? So you need to be able to see things with spiritual eyes to be able to understand how the world really works. And that's the journey that a lot of people may not understand. So when they hear me say certain things, they may feel like it's a whole bunch of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole bunch of nothing to a person that cannot see.
To them, yeah.
And that's kind of the journey. If you don't understand something, don't be like, well, this is nothing. Ask yourself, what does this mean? What is this? Why is this dude spending time trying to convey? Do you think I'm here wasting my time? No, I'm trying to convey something. So stop, listen, don't scroll to the next thing. Like meditate.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean to meditate? To dwell upon. What are you dwelling upon? People are out here with the phones, the music, the bullshit. You're living in so much static that you don't allow your brain to process any information. It's just like dopamine hits 24/7. So people are fried in the head, and the ones that understand how to manage their ability to receive information are the ones that move up in life, because only the educated are free, not the hardworking.
So something that I'm curious about is obviously you've learned a lot of lessons and you're here, you're sharing them, etc. But where did these lessons come from? Obviously, it's building the businesses. It's coming here at 16. It's things like that. I'm curious when it started to like. Obviously, you had a goal when you came here, which is probably freedom, right, from socialism and whatnot. But when did that kind of start to develop into I can do way more. I can do the crypto stuff. I can make millions and millions of dollars. And what was that like spiritual awareness when did it start to like click?
Mm. You have to be able to be perspicacious, which is the ability to perceive that which cannot be seen with the common eye. When you look at the penthouse, somebody lives there, right? Somebody paid for that.
Yeah.
What do they know that I don't know that allowed them to be there and not me? That is the question. It's not, oh, I need to work hard. No, it's maybe I knock on that guy's door. Has that ever occurred to you to literally go into a coffee shop full of millionaires and start making friends? How many millionaires are in your circle? If you're poor and you're hanging out with poor people, what do you expect is going to take place? So I think the first thing that I went through was the journey of processing the information that we're getting from the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
People don't stop and look. People don't stop and pay attention, dude. People like,
And it's everywhere.
hold up. What is going on? What is happening around me? What is happening in front of me? And based off of that, and being able to see it from multiple perspectives, multiple opinions, you form a worldview as to how things are working. And the problem is most people have pessimistic worldviews because they have narrow perspectives. So they can only see the world through a vacuum.
They're small town. They're friends.
Lack of information.
Yes.
Only the educated are free. So what is my journey? My journey is the journey of self-education.
Mm-hmm.
So why? Because the more that I know, the more that I can see. The more that I can see, the better perspective I can have. The better perspective I can have, the better outcome and decision making I can have in positioning for my life. So if I understand that I can obtain freedom and that I can obtain wealth and I can obtain success, it's not merely an illusion. It is an understanding based off of what the world around me has shown me that it is possible, right? So it's merely a game of probabilities. So what do I need to do is increase my probabilities by knowing how the game is played. You play Monopoly. I win every time I play Monopoly. Why? Because I went on YouTube and I watched the videos. What are the lands that I should buy with highest possible return to win the game? Which land should I stay away from? which like literally you can build a strategy in the same way there's formulas in success to building a strategy in life. And if you don't think so, it's not that they're not there, is that you do not have the wherewithal or the mental capacity or the right information to see it. But it doesn't mean that it's not real. And once you have the humility to perceive that and have a student's mind, you'll be able to see the way in all things.
I love it. You're spitting right now already. This is starting amazing. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, we were on a Twitter space last week and talking about this with our friends. Like, most people live their lives for an outcome. They have the intention of an outcome versus the intention of a process, and really lose a lot there because there's so much to be gained just by the process. And when you play for the outcome, you never really get the full process and that understanding. So I guess, like, to kind of follow up on Nick's question there, because it's a great answer. Was there, like, when you were 16 and you're flying to America, did you move to Miami then? I would imagine.
No, I traveled around, so I was literally just hopping around. There was no one location. I'm all over the country, bro.
Love
all
it.
over the country.
Love it. But did you have that same, process intention or just the yearning to understand at that point?
So,
or was it?
It was more so the process of survival, right? So you go from like surviving to living to thriving.
Yep.
So most people, what they don't do is they don't turn off their survival mentality once they go to being well. And once they go from being well, they become comfortable, but they still have the habits of a person that is like in dire situation. Why? What do I mean by that? They're always looking at the fast money. They're always looking at the quick money. They're always looking at the quick bag, right? Because they're still thinking in scarcity mindset, in the same mindset that they needed to get out of in order to get to the next level. It was an essential one, right, in order to survive, but it's not the necessary one in order to thrive. So I was in survival mind at that point. At that point in my journey, I was like, I just need to make money. I got to pay for rent. Like, I got to figure out how to live. Then I started buying a couple books here and there. One of my buddies introduced me to stock trading. Somebody else introduced me to crypto. A lot of things that one could call luck, but I call positioning, right? Because I positioned myself in the best restaurants, for example. Like, why would I go work at the shitty restaurant where I could work at the best restaurant? Like, it was just made sense, all right? Why would I work? If I'm going to work, might as well work to get paid for what I produce. So I'm going to take a job in sales instead of working a 9 to 5 where it doesn't matter how much I produce, I'm capped by my hourly wage, right? So those logical steps of actually taking pride and respecting my time, knowing what my time is worth, is what led me to, in my survival kind of hustles, be able to be paid based off of what I produce and not my time, which I think gave me the ability to speed out of the bullshit a lot faster than most people.
I love it. And is there a moment where you feel like, retrospectively looking back at everything you've done, where you kind of like, where it clicked and you really moved into that thriving or abundant
what I would say
consciousness?
What I would say was my first digital marketing gig. So I was introduced to Facebook ads in 2015. So like super long ago.
Golden age.
And that was when you would run like a picture ad and it would generate sales and it would make you money. But at that point it was a lot more complicated to have suppliers and things of this nature. And
you were drop shipping?
I was drop shipping, and we found out about drop shipping through we would watch Robert Kiyosaki and a lot of like the OG guys.
And at this time, you're like
this time I'm working in restaurants. I'm like hustling. I'm like working odd jobs. I'm like figuring out how to make money. So that was literally like the last year of the grind and the bullshit.
So you see this, and you're like,
I see this, and I'm like, I just need to make a couple hundred more bucks a day. It wasn't
That's exactly how
it wasn't that I'm going to be a multi-millionaire. I was just like, I can make a couple sales and I can sell this thing and it works. And
dude, I need to make money.
And it feels good, right? Like,
yeah.
I was making $4,000 or $5,000. I was paying $200 to sleep on a couch. And everything else that I would make, I would reinvest into the business, right? And what is reinvest into the business? $200 that I would get in tips. That would be my advertising budget for the next day. But so fucking be it, right? Like, it was the name of the game. What am I not going to be able to find another job? I'm never going to be able to make money. I never had that negative talk and that perspective because I just understood that it was part of the process, that it was the grind and the process. But then the next step of self-actualization or self-realization was understanding the value of information and understanding that if you can position yourself ahead of time as to where the money is going to go, you're going to be able to capitalize on it. What do I mean by that? Is that people that have a job or are employees, most of their days focus on what? Taking care of somebody else's business, running somebody else's business. You're getting paid for that. So the amount of time that you have allocated towards self-exploration, self-development, all this stuff is capped because you add commuting, you add being tired, you add eating. A lot of people don't have time left. They do if they wanted to make it, but we're talking about the average person. They don't have massive amounts of time left to make something meaningful. So what I would do is I would set time aside every single day in order to get educated. So what do I mean? I would pick up stock books. I wouldn't read them all the way through, but I would skim over them. I would buy them. I would look at a chart. I would research what does this pattern mean, and then what I would do, spend every single day looking at the Bitcoin chart. I've looked at the Bitcoin chart every single day for 5 years. So when I look at something, it reminds me of an event that took place back in 2018, and this was the price movement, and this was what was taking place, and you start becoming natural
Pattern
and
recognition,
and starts becoming natural and starts becoming a habitual kind of intuitive aspect of your life. So what I started realizing was I need to figure out what are the skill sets that I need to learn that are going to allow me to be intuitive and become rich. So how do you become intuitive and rich? Investing patterns, like understanding how to invest. Like it's a skill that you can learn and a skill that you can develop. It's not luck. Like there's dudes out there that understand how to make fucking money. The banks, they're literally just investment firms. They take your fucking money and they invest it on your behalf. And you dumb fucks, you put your money in there thinking that your money's sitting in there. All it is a number on a screen. Your money's out there being used and deployed.
I've seen you talk a lot about BlackRock.
Yeah, BlackRock, it's crazy. BlackRock, Vanguard, all the big organizations, all of those are dudes that use their head. People that think.
Yeah.
Finance is the language of the elite. Okay? Finance is the language of the elite. Back in the day, the church would block people's access from God. Why? They wouldn't let people speak in Latin. So therefore, they couldn't read the Bible. So what would happen? They would have to go through the middleman. Today, you want a middleman? Perfect. Here's your banker because you don't know finance. You don't know law? Perfect. Here's your middleman. Here's your lawyer. The fuck is that? Another person representing you because because you do not understand how the world works. So I realized that if I wanted to get to the next level, I needed to get educated. So on my spare time after the hustle, back commuting, podcast, reading. I was addicted to getting fucking mentally strong. And not just physically strong, not just hustling, but mentally strong. Because the Bible says it, as a man thinketh, so is he. So what you think about yourself becomes the reality of who you are. So what you put in here is going to manifest itself through your life. So I've realized I just need to insert so much good stuff here that it will naturally be a byproduct of what I spit out. And it worked. So people just don't want to do the day-to-day. They don't want to do the right things today. You make $1 million, guys, by doing the right thing every fucking day. You do the right thing. Go sit down with a millionaire every single week. You can't figure out how you can provide a little bit of value, how you can be of service. Open up your eyes. Like the opportunity is out there for everybody, but only the few people that understand that they need to use this are going to be the ones that make it. There's the working class. It's the people that work. And there's the ruling class, the people that rule. Do you think the ruling class works? Come on, brother. Get woke.
I love it. It's super true. I remember back before I really had anything, because I had a similar story. Like, I know you don't have that much exposure to our stuff or us or whatever, but just kind of realized that in college playing ball and just hated the class.
What sport were you playing?
Football.
Amazing.
And I would go to class and I got great grades, all that kind of stuff. But I just this can't be the thing that's going to get me there, because it's felt like so much time. And so I realized that and just left on a whim. And I look at that first year and nothing maybe tangible happened, but I learned so much stuff. I'm going down all these rabbit holes.
But what is tangible?
That's a great question. That's, I guess,
it's almost like
nothing is tangible.
Because I felt the same way. It was always there was a number attached to it, but it was a spiritual freedom that we were almost after. Leaving college after 2 months, It's like I just knew I was boxed in spiritually. I
Yeah.
just knew I was boxed in mentally. Like there's no opportunity for me there.
Yeah.
Like actually, and in at the time, like tangibly, maybe it's a dollar sign, but intangibly, it's a mindset expansion.
Correct.
It's a spiritual expansion. It's just growth in general as a person.
And that's where it needs to start before it becomes real.
Yeah.
And the thing is, people don't want to be patient. People want microwave results.
That's a great.
And that's the type of food you're going to get. Nobody wants to wait for the Michelin star.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit down and let the chef cook. The chef is life. You were talking about, you made a point. You said everybody's focused on the results. The result is also known as the output. In computing, you cannot control in every sort of facet. You can understand it. There's a high likelihood of probability. You cannot control the output. What can you control? The input, right? So if you can control the input, the principle of sowing and reaping, right? You just plant the seeds. You just plant the seeds. You understand that by natural law, the outcome will yield itself, right? So if you go to the gym and you exercise every single day and you eat extremely healthy and clean, you understand that you will develop a certain physique.
Mm-hmm.
You're not saying, oh, I hope I'm going to get this physique. You know that if you do this, this result is guaranteed. What it looks like, what your physique looks like, how many abs actually show, all that is the output. You can't control it, but you can get healthy, right? So people, instead of focusing on the input, which is what they control, they focus on the output. How can I make $1 million? No, motherfucker. How can you today pick up a damn book that teaches you what the history of money is? This thing that you're pursuing, you don't even know what it is. You're just chasing it like every other motherfucker chases it. People chase shit that doesn't attract to them. People chase stuff that runs. I don't chase, I attract. I'm literally just sitting here and money comes to me. How? You don't think it's real? Don't worry. Don't think it's real. More money for me. It's okay. Keep doing your thing, G. Keep doing your thing. The ones that get it, bro. So position yourself. Stop being a hustler. Start being a boss. Starts right here.
I love it.
Fact.
I think
I love that.
I do too.
I've talked to too many people in Miami that are hustlers. I'm gonna make it.
They work for me, bro.
I'm gonna make another buck. I'm gonna do this. And
Let's do the math, brother. Let's do the math. Okay. People out here flexing that they make 10K a day. Okay. And I understand. I understand to the 99.9%. That's a fuck ton of money. I get it. And so be it, guys. It's a lot of money. You can live off of that. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk to the 0.001% that understand what 10K actually is. Still hustler money. Let me explain. I understand. It's a lot of money, perspective. But I'm going to talk to the guys that have big ambitions and big dreams, and the girls. 10K a day. What is that? 300K a month. What is that? 3 million a year. 10 years, that's 30 million. 40% taxes. What are you left with?
it's not enough.
What are you left with? Okay, let's say you're left with 20. Living expenses, you're left with 15. You just worked 10 years and you have 15 million in the bank. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but it ain't a lot of money because you can spend it really fast. Or I could just work for 10 years and go for 100 million, but I'm going to cash out at the end of 10. Instead of cashing in at the end of every single day, I'm going to work my long period of time and I'm going to cash out the big bag. So what I'm in the process of now is doing that, right? Sure, you can scale 10, 20, 30K days, but if you want to get the big numbers, dude, you need to be playing a completely different game. And once you look at it like that, you're like, oh shit, 10 years of my life for 15 million. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like it's not,
no,
it's, and I know it's a lot of money, but it's not.
You have to own the process.
You have to own the process. And how do you transition in that process is to make enough money to be able to carry you through that season of potential drought, which is the season of growth, right? Where you're actually buckled down. Dude, Elon did it. This is like, I'm not talking out of my ass. There's proven testimonials of dudes that did this. The guy sells out of PayPal, takes all of his fucking money from PayPal, reinvests it, goes risky, almost loses it all, and builds 3 multi-billion-dollar companies. He could have cashed out at 150, sat back, called it a day. But he said, I understand the process. I understand how I can multiply my money. I understand how I can get to the next level. And that guy, for all the other guys that lost, that guy was able actually to succeed and pulled through. And dude, it's a fucking testament.
I can relate to that so much. Like, obviously not Elon level, right?
Sure.
But I can relate to that so much because we just hired a ton of people.
Yeah.
Or we just hired like 5 or 6 people for our business, and it feels great, right? Because I shut down my agency and we restarted this coaching consulting business, And it feels great because you get pulled out of the work, right? You're not on the calls anymore. You're not in the process. You're not writing the things. You're visualizing it and then putting it into the process, and the team does it, right?
Brother, you're creating it.
Yes.
You're creating it. What you're doing is you're taking the idea, and through your brain, which is the receiver of information, right, between the spiritual world and the physical realm, you're downloading it and manifesting it into reality. Manifesting it into reality at scale requires the ability to understand how to deploy and manage people and cast that vision upon those individuals. So you're in that journey right now, and it's that process, but you're not just delegating. What you're doing is you're creating through these people.
Correct.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
It's spiritual, like
Yeah,
you said at the
100%.
beginning. Now, what does that look like for you? What's the big project for you?
Self-development. I'm the big project, bro.
Okay.
Myself. The ultimate project is self. There's nothing else. I've made enough money, bro. Like, I understand, and I'm just getting started. Like, the money is just a metric of the value that you provide, right? And I'm not talking about scamming money. I'm talking about real money. So it's a proportion and a measurement of the value that you provide. So, but the money will come. I'm not worried about the money. I'm just focused on becoming the best version of myself. Like, what's next for me? How do I wake up and make sure I'm more flexible in the morning? Like, that's what I'm thinking about, dude. Like, I ain't thinking about fucking all the problems. I'm thinking, okay, how can I stretch and make sure that I can touch my toes a little bit better? Okay, how can I do more push-ups? Like, bro, that's the thing. That's the stuff that I'm worried about.
So you're
Because it's the day-to-day. It's the small stuff. That's the stuff that matters right now. Because I understand that it's going to compound. How? Okay, what does it mean? What does this definition mean? I literally spend time looking at definitions of understanding what the fuck do I say? What I'm saying, what does it mean? When I use the word understand, what does the word understand mean? Like, truly, where does it come from? And you start looking back at the history of the word understand, for example, and it comes from when they used to have boats in shipyards, right? And they would set them up in order to inspect the belly of the boat. And they would put the boat on a stand, and they would go under the stand to inspect the bottom of the situation, right? So understand is it also, but you can begin to piece that all into how the world works.
Or the situation.
Correct. And you begin to understand the things that you say, the power of the words that you hold, how people use words to manipulate you and trick you, right? So when they tell you that this is the land of the free and home of the brave, what does that even mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to pledge allegiance to a flag?
It's a good question.
I pledge allegiance to God. You see, so these are the things that people begin to say, and they don't question why they say what they say, or they don't even understand what they're saying. So another one that's funny, if I may, is people talk about jack of all trades,
Master of none.
Who told you that?
It's a common phrase that you
Yeah,
learn
but
growing up.
Yeah, but who came up with that? What's the origin of that? How do you know it's good?
I believe it's like carpentry origin or something like that. But who knows?
Who knows?
We don't even know.
The whole point is people believe it.
Yeah.
People say jack of all trades, master of none.
Isn't there a longer phrase to that?
Jack of all trades, master of life. The more that you know, the more that you know. Jack of all trades, master of none. Master of one is how it finishes. It's like master of none. Being good in one vertical alone isn't going to take you to your fullest potential. You need to be well-rounded. Jack of all trades is the master of life. Master everything. And once you break that down, I was like, oh, damn, that's true. What else is a lie? Everything.
that leads to a question for you. You recently went to Ohio.
Yeah.
The whole train thing, whatever.
I'm from like 130 miles from there.
Obviously a clear lie, cover up, things going on.
Cover up for sure. I have a vlog coming out. It should be published by the time, it should be out in the next couple of days. So by the time people see it, they'll see this. So just Luke Belmar, East Palestine, and it'll literally show up. And hella cover ups. 100% people are absolutely getting.
What was your motivation for going there?
Nobody else did.
Okay. Fair enough.
Like, brother, I'm side questing here in real time. I don't need Lamborghinis and yachts every day. Like, that gets old. I can go out and hang out with people that need help. Why not? This is why I'm here. I'm side questing. It's true.
It's amazing. You're talking on so many different things, and I want to go into all of them. I mean, number one, like etymology and the meaning behind words is a seriously insane subject to really dive into, and just there's so much to be gained from doing that, and you learn a lot about some of the lies that you've been told via that etymology. all the really like spiritually inclined people that I know too are very,
Very articulate.
yeah, they're very conscious of that as well.
Yes.
Like if you ask anybody who really feels like, or they can alter their reality with their brains, or they really have some sort of command over that, they're very, very particular about the etymology and the
Because words have power. Because words are a physical manifestation through sound of the spiritual. And that's why it's extremely important to be careful with what
Yes.
you say and how you say it, because you are materializing that thought. And even in what you can do is, even if the thought is negative, you can materialize it in a positive way. And that's your ability to become an alchemist of reality. An alchemist is somebody that basically has the ability to morph elements. So you become an alchemist of reality by taking a negative thought and manifesting it in a positive way. Like you look at yourself and you're like, damn, I look fat. And you're like, I look good today, but I could look better, so I'm going to go exercise. And what you've done is you've manifested in a positive way a negative thought, therefore becoming a master of your mind.
casting spells.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Channeling.
dude. It's amazing.
There's that example where it's like taking certain things and not twisting them, right? But like just understanding them in a different fashion.
Twisting them for sure, brother. Twisting them, bending, morphing them. That's what reality is. Reality bends to your will if you choose it to bend to your will.
And then there's the example of we have a friend that we've had on the podcast before, but instead of saying that's sick, that's great, that's amazing, right? Instead of manifesting that's sick.
Another one that I started doing was people are like, oh damn. What does it mean to damn something? It means to curse. No, blessing. I do that. Oh, that sounds crazy. No, but it's what you're saying. You're literally cursing stuff. So people hear a good concept that I say, or I hear a good concept. People, oh, damn, that's crazy. No, not damn nothing, bro. No. Bless that statement. You know what I mean? Because
100%.
it is what your word actually conveys, whether you believe it or not. And all in the road, and we hear it as well. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So it doesn't matter how you feel or how you perceive what you're saying. You know, it's what it actually does. What's the outcome of it? And a lot of kids have their parents. They're like, oh, but my parents love me. What my parents are telling me doesn't mean they know what's best, or doesn't even mean that they know the power of the words and the words that they hold. So I think people need to start studying words, and I think it's going to be extremely important. I mean, even just looking at money, right? You look at money, you look at a bank, right? What is a bank? What is also a bank? A river
bank.
Right. And what does the river bank do? It controls the flow. The flow of what? The
Water.
flow of the current, the currency, right? So if it's controlling the currency, it's also controlling the what? The flow. The flow of what? The cash flow. So what? Money moves like water. So if I understand where the water is going to go, I just have to position myself where the cash flow is going to be next, and I will get wet. Welcome to the big leagues, motherfuckers.
I love this right now. It's there's so many areas to dig into. I think like you mentioned, the master of or jack of all trades. And I think like so many people, it does get tied into money and the way things are now. But it's really interesting because you're talking about education as the gateway to money. And really, like, what does the education do? It allows you to see this and see and find this really specific knowledge. And you mentioned, like giving that away to a lawyer or a banker who has more knowledge than you on a specific subject.
And then
But
they
I think
take control of you.
take
right?
control, and
Of
that's
your situation.
yeah. And I think like this idea of
And you're bound to the what they tell you they know. You don't even know if they know what they know.
Yeah.
yeah, you have no way to regulate it or fact check it or whatever. But I think it's really interesting because to me, the way the world is changing and the economy is changing, like human specialization. There was a quote that one of our friends posted: "Is specialization is for insects, right? Not for humans." And I think that as the world continues changing and the economy continues changing, like I think that having these parallels and all these different arenas or verticals of life is really going to be the only way that you can, create enough value in a world of AI to be of service to other people, is to be able to like recognize the different parallels between different things, whether that's health or money or spelling. And so I guess my question for you is how and when did you start? I mean, you always had like a penchant for education, it sounds like, and just seeing the world a little bit differently, but how did you start really internalizing that mindset of I'm gonna know everything and I'm gonna be good at everything, and how do you think people can curate that a little bit more for themselves?
It's by realizing that the problems in your life were caused by the information that you have, and that you cannot solve the problems in your life with the information that gave you those problems in the first place. You need new information.
Yeah.
So if you have problems in your life, you have to stop. Like the problems are there because of the way that you think, of the info that you have. So stop. So I evaluate it. Look at my bank account. I'm broke. I'm sleeping on a fucking couch. Like I'm not as healthy as I should be. What the fuck is wrong? And all roads led back to here. Something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. So this is what I need to change. Pick up a damn book, bro. Go for a walk. Ask yourself, if you have a job, if you're working a 9 to 5, is this the best job that I currently could have based off of my potential? Yes or no? No. Can I get another job? Yes. Can I get a job that pays me 20% more? Yes. Then that's where you start. You don't have to go make a fucking $5 million this year. You can start today with something actionable, but you need to be able to utilize your head. And the problem is most people disdain and they hate education because they compare it to the indoctrination that they received when they were in school, thinking that they were being educated. The system told them that they were being educated, where in fact they were being indoctrinated. That's why they hate it. You know, when you usually get sick from like food poisoning, whatever it is that you ate right before that food poisoning, you usually hate that food. It's like icky.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with education. The reason education is gross to a lot of people and why it's so distasteful is because of what they've been told education was. But the science of self-learning is the first step to freedom.
There's a connotation associated.
100%, but it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not
Higher
real.
education.
How do you know that the history books are real, bro?
I got a book right there. It's just the falsification of history.
There you go. Because it's all bullshit. It's all a perspective of one dude or a couple dudes that most likely won whatever took place, covered up a ton of shit, and made themselves look good. Wouldn't you do the same?
Like, how are they going to paint 2016, 2020, all this stuff? It's going to be completely different. It's already covered up.
Yeah, there you go. Past news. Bury one hatchet, bring another one, and backstab them again. Like, until people learn, it's going to keep happening. But when you understand the rules of the game and how history works, and the loops and cycles and the ebbs and flows of life, you can position yourself and be like, okay, I win. You know, the people that hate the system are the ones that aren't making money and aren't winning from the system. You know, the guys that love the system, the ones that understand it, run it, and are benefiting from it. So instead of complaining, understand that the game is going to be played whether you like it or not. And you better get your bag secured by understanding how the rules of the game works and how the game is played. And by that point, you're not going to be complaining and wasting your energy going on Twitter. Do you think your fucking tweet does anything? It's going to change anything? Think you're no, it's just going to get your ass banned. You dumb fuck. Is that the objective? No, the game beat you. You didn't have self-control. You didn't understand how to play your cards right. Right? So instead of blaming the system, the exterior, everything is self-responsibility. Everything happens because of me. And once you start living that way, you start playing your cards a little bit differently. You start playing more intelligently. And ultimately, you understand that the outcome of your life is because you chose it to be that way, whether conscious or unconscious. I think it was Terrence McKenna, the guy that talked a lot about psychedelics and mushrooms back in the day.
Yep.
Don't quote me on him, but I think I heard it from him in one of his speeches. He says, men will be guided by their subconscious mind their whole life and call it God. So what does that mean? That most people are guided by their subconscious mind and the programming that is taking place?
They're just fed bullshit.
Fed bullshit. And they will assume because it's in the back of their head that it's God talking to them and leading them. And it's like, if this was God leading me and guiding me, why is my life so shit? I don't know what type of God you have. But if God is a God of order and not a God of confusion, then why are other people that say that they understand and know who God is live such a shitty life?
I think a lot of
no sense.
people God is now this. God is the phone. God is the social media.
What does the
God is
dollar say,
mainstream.
brother? In God we trust. People's trust is on the fucking paper. It's right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's literally right in front of you. The mockery is right in front of your face. It's hilarious. Trust your God right here. There you go. Trust me. The banks. They own every fucking corner. Here, look at it. You walk around Brickell. They own every corner.
Yeah.
Every corner. Do you think that's by chance? That's by design. That's by design. What? And you can't cut yourself a little sliver? Come on. It's not that hard, guys. Just put in some hours. Most of you guys ain't even trying.
I love this right now. And so if, you know, you mentioned like playing within the confines of the game, playing within the confines of the system. Right now, I think the message that, you know,
Matrix.
to me, there's like, you know, there's two ways you could go as somebody who's made millions of dollars, right? You can, you know, keep that money. You can continue milking the system. You can make the right connections. You get access to these, you know, pre-IPO offerings or the best real estate deals or, you know, the roll-ups that are getting ready to happen before they happen, this tech startups, all this kind of stuff, right? And for you, to me, what you're doing is not necessarily playing within the. I mean, you're definitely playing smart, right? But not necessarily within the confines of the system, because I don't think you know, you have a large influence. I don't think the banks like, you know, you educating the younger generation on TikTok. So I would love to hear what your intention is with that. Do you, like, is that playing within the system? Because I don't think the system necessarily likes that. And to me, like a guy like you with a lot of money, you made a lot of money in crypto and e-com and all this different stuff. Like you could just kind of have it good and have the insider play and really understand. So what's the intention of really educating people in this way? And what does that look like for you?
Because the current system that we live in is not a sustainable system, right? So if you look at the New York Stock Exchange, all the publicly listed companies, what do they work for? They work to make sure shareholder value is upheld and to make sure that shareholder returns are
Profit.
good. That's
Mhm.
it.
Yep.
That is the purpose of a publicly listed organization. So when you have millions and millions of people around the world working to make sure the next quarter hits, then everything is microwave. Everything is bandage, bandage, bandage. So you need to condition people and retrain people that there's a better way to operate within the confines of the system, right? So I'm not here whether the system works or not. It's, yo, if you're going to make money, at least know what the fuck it is, right? Like, I'm not, do you think I'm going to go out here be the rebellion against trillions and trillions of dollars? Bro, I know better.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot, but that doesn't mean that you can't have plants in your house to oxygenate your house and drink spring water instead of drinking tap water. You can still have a good life.
Yeah.
You can still avoid seed oils, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can still understand what your laws are and what the Bill of Rights is. Do you think the banks care? They don't give a fuck. They just know most people are not going to do it regardless of whether I say it anyway. So I'm not here to fight anybody. I'm just here to talk to the people that are ready to get to the next level. And I'm there at the top of the mountain waiting.
I like that a lot. I'm curious. I want to hear more stories about you like getting started. Some of those like epiphany stages, like drop shipping. You mentioned Facebook ads 2015. I had a similar moment in 2018, right? When I first started, I was in a sales job. I found the internet space.
Yeah.
I started drop shipping, etc. And for me, it was like, holy, like I'm at the job, $34. It pops up, first sale ever. Like wow. So what were those moments for you? Like when did you discover Facebook ads? How did it happen? How did the first shop?
Yeah, so I'll go back to it. Yeah, so the first time we figured out about Facebook ads was I started clicking on all the ads that were on the right column back in the day before like Facebook even came out on the phones, and it was the right column ads. Those were the super OG ads. And I didn't realize that I was being advertised to, right? Back in the day, it was really, really difficult to really spot when an advertisement or a YouTube ad was or what was, it was just not normal. So my first epiphany was watching a Robert Kiyosaki interview where they were talking about Facebook ads and drop shipping. And then I just started trying it. Like it was very simple. My big epiphany with crypto was in the crash of 2017 when everybody around me made fun of me. And I looked at everybody that made fun of me and I looked at their life and there were a bunch of losers. Every person that made fun of me was a loser, and every person that was like, no, no, this is gonna come back up. We're all successful people. So I'm like, bro, all these people are wrong. All these people are wrong. So what I spent 2017, 2018, 2019 doing was making a fuck ton of money. And then 2020, I dumped it all in crypto. Like, dude, what do you think? I'm going to be an idiot and work for 40 years? LOL. Brother, get me out of the game fast. Like, I'm not here to work. I'm here to have fun. I'm here to live my life. I'm here to explore the game. Oh, you got lucky and you didn't. Sue me, bro. I got lucky and I'll be lucky every day. Give me more luck. I need all the luck. I need all the luck. So when people say you got lucky, so be it. Whether I got lucky or not doesn't matter. The point is, the faster you can get out of the rat race and start focusing on your self-development is where you win. So these epiphanies are happening all the time.
Yeah.
But those are two where I was like, nah, bro, I can't be following what the dweebs are doing.
When did it click though with the store? Like you're running ads and things are going, but like when it was like,
When it
oh
clicked,
shit.
so when it clicked for me was when I started hitting products that had scale. So
Yeah.
it's what I call the evergreen niches. The evergreen niches are the niches where the audience size is so big that you can actually scale. And the issue that I had with the products that I had beginning in the beginning of drop shipping was they were super niche, because that's how I was taught. You were taught, oh, sell a dog
remember,
product
yeah.
and sell a cat product. So it was extremely niche that. But then I was like, let me sell like QVC. So I started selling like QVC. So I would take kind of QVC type ads and the samples and the offers, clone the offers, clone basically the video format, run it, and it would work. So what I started doing was selling household products. So things that people would buy on a regular basis that they would just buy out of convenience, and they would buy it from me. So just started running ads with that, did super well 2019, made quite a big bag. 2020 was our best year in e-commerce because everybody was getting banned for selling household products. We were already established selling household products, cleaning products, all these stuff. And then everybody started getting banned because they wanted to circumvent the policy of hand sanitizers and masks that Facebook had banned. So what we did, we're like, okay, everybody's trying to circumvent the policy. And we're like, well, let's just follow the policy. Let's just find a creative way to get our way. And we just reformatted our products and reformatted our structure to appeal to people's pets. Why? Because the mentality was still there of, I need everybody in my family to be healthy.
Yeah.
Your pet is part of your family. To a lot of people, they are. So now we started reformatting sanitation and cleaning products to animals. And it went fucking ballistic. And it worked super, super well. And then I started experimenting with, this was kind of like this was like my big, like, savage run. So I like to share it. And the big issue, the big kind of like epiphany that we had in dropshipping was that people utilized ads as a conversion metric. I used ads as a awareness metric. So what I would do is I would create a good enough ad, have a good enough product that I could trend and hit virality in an organic way. So people started treating Facebook as kind of like a billboard, and I treated it more like a Reddit forum.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would have it created to farm natural engagement, therefore reducing the CPMs. So for example, I would have, let's say, a dog product, and in the comment section, a lady would be like, this would be really nice for my dog. The average dropshipper, a person that doesn't use their head, would respond, oh, really? Here's 50% off coupon, assuming that they're going to shop. You know what we would do? Go in there. Oh, that's great. Can you upload a photo of your dog? We would love to see it. Boom, she replies. Now we get a third account to be like, that dog's ugly. Now the lady responds and she gets livid and she goes crazy. And then you start introducing politics, and then you start introducing all these other things. And as soon as you know it, you have forums going on organically in your ad, therefore tricking Facebook into believing that this ad is going to be really good for like the native experience, boosting you up, reducing your CPMs, and giving you fucking hella conversion. So in 2020, at that point, I think we had the 10th biggest ad of all time. It had like 250 million views, like 200,000 likes on the ad. It was like crazy, like 100,000 comments. was really, really insane. So we ran that pretty well for a bit. Yeah, it worked. It
I
was
love
fun.
it. I love stories like that, like the just like how things started, like the realizations of this ad and like the angles and stuff. Because I feel like you have a lot more knowledge
And
to
what I like
share.
about drop shipping though, bro, is the fact that a lot of the skills translate to
They do 100%.
other
Because I was
businesses.
doing the drop shipping, I'm in my sales job. I'm Shopify, knowing the liquid code, knowing these things like that, knowing how to run ads on Facebook, knowing all this stuff, contacting theme pages, shit like that. And then I transitioned into just growing theme pages. So I was
Yeah.
like, this is easy for me. And this is, and just it clicked, right? But those skills transferred.
Yeah.
I still know how to go or build Shopify sites today. I still know how to do Facebook ads, and it just compounds over and over and
I
over.
agree.
Um, but I feel like you have more knowledge to share because we're talking about the spiritual stuff. We're talking about this perspective. I feel like some of it's aimed towards maybe like the TikTok kids, right? But I feel like you have this core knowledge behind like the tactics, right? Inside the stores and, with
For sure.
Bitcoin and reading charts and stuff like that. And you mentioned 2017. And 2017 was, I had just dropped out of college and I'm seeing Bitcoin go stupid. And I'm like, what is this? Like, I first exposure to it, right? And I'm looking at Ethereum, I'm looking at these other ones. I'm like, oh, if I just bought one of these, it might go up a little bit. I'm an 18-year-old kid, I don't know what's going on. What was you said people laughed at you. What
Yeah.
were they laughing about?
It was Thanksgiving and people were going around saying what they were thankful for. Luke Belmar, what are you thankful for? Bitcoin. Everybody laughed. Okay, so be it. I'm very thankful for it.
And this is did it crash?
2007. It was right before the crash. It was like the super hype right before the crash, but everybody was laughing at me like, "Oh, whatever, like superficial,
And you were
superficial."
in it at that time?
I was in it heavy, bro. I started buying Bitcoin at like 600, 500, $600
Okay.
way back. Yeah, and biggest plays were Cardano, ADA. Bought that shit at half a penny. My biggest bag was PancakeSwap.
I didn't buy that, but
PancakeSwap, I owned 1% of the circulating supply. I got into it at $25 million valuation and wrote it to 2.6 billion. It was fucking really crazy. I slowly cashed out on my way up, so it wasn't like a full blown like crazy exit, but pretty much a unicorn type.
What was your
event.
process for identifying that? Do you know people that
Yeah.
tell you things?
So it was kind of I was betting on CZ. So remember with the app
Yep.
Clubhouse?
Yeah,
Back in the day when that used to be a thing. I got banned twice on that shit. I was like, this app won't last. Censorship resistance apps are going to be the future. So anything that censors people's ability to speak the truth eventually kind of crumbles. It's a good question. I don't know how to answer it.
It's interesting to me hearing
I'm gonna leave for that one.
hearing your marketing background and what you're doing with your e-com stores, and then hearing all your like self-development stuff, and then even crypto. Like it really comes back to people at the end of the day. Like all the things you're saying, you're understanding how the end user experience watching your ads is intaking that information being presented to them. You're betting on certain tokens because
You're
of the
betting on
leadership.
people, and it's kind of like,
Everything is
that's
people
why
at the end of the day.
That's why I was careful with the point because it's like
Sure.
you can't always just bet on people. That's why I was being a little bit careful on it. But for example, if you look at Elon, the dude's gonna make Twitter successful. Are you gonna
100%.
bet on him or not? Like, dude, like the dude's a fucking genius. So when I looked at CZ, he owns the biggest exchange. I started buying Binance in 2017 at $2, like a savage.
BNB?
Yeah, and it was crazy. And I was like, this guy's talking on Clubhouse about PancakeSwap. There's a high likelihood he's gonna make this thing fucking run. So I put my chips there, and it worked. And it could have easily not worked, but it worked. And that's what life is. Life is literally calculated decisions. Business, your job, that's all calculated decisions. Day by day, it's a calculated decision. The problem is most people outsource their decision making to a boss because they don't want to assume responsibility for their life. So the decision that I made was, instead of making fucking 90 trades and buying all these shit coins and all this stuff, let me find something that is quite stable and bet on winning people. I was a little bit careful about answering like the betting people point, because you don't always want to be looking at other people as your vehicle for running a bag.
No.
But it is also the case that it is possible. I mean, look at the other side.
I was more
Look at
so,
the antithesis of
Bet
it.
on
Look at
SBF.
SBF. If you look at SBF, right,
yeah.
that's why I was
I was
careful
more so
about it, because
more
it
so
could
asking
easily backfire.
what
Yeah.
made you aware of it. It's kind of and that seems to be answered by like
Yeah,
you.
the clubhouse and literally just going in there and asking.
Yeah.
And you hear the guy, and he's like, "Oh, well, I don't know who the team is, but we're in contact with them. The bull run is starting. The shit's worth 25 million. I understand how tokens run because I saw 2017 those shits ran up to billions of dollars. So you just have to be able to get in." And I cashed out most of my pancake swap between $26 and $36, most of it, when one of the owners of FaZe Clan hit me up and was like, "What is Safe Moon?" And I was like, "Nah, bro, fuck this shit. I'm out." Because it was taking place as it thrived on the Binance Smart Chain, which told me it was it was hitting climax point. When a dude that games and has nothing to do with crypto starts asking me about it. That's a big cue for everybody on the next bull run. The moment people start mentioning it, get out or start taking positions out. Why? Because the bankers, the elite, the financiers, the venture capital, they are already in at the bottom. When they start spreading the news, is for them to create what? They're trying to create liquidity and market demand to offload their bags. How they offload their bags, how much they can hype it and run it up is really dependent on the cycle and on the system and the money that's being printed. Again, another one, if the United States gets more money circulating, the markets are going to pump. They make their way into the market. Like there's various cycles that you can start paying attention to on the macro.
So
And they tend to repeat themselves.
if you're someone that wants to run up a bag in crypto on the next run, what are you doing?
Right, what I'm doing right now is starting. If I'm a newbie, there's people can just look up an article that I wrote, the 11 books that made me rich, and just Luke Belmar, 11 books that made me rich on Google. Just type it, and I just very simple list the 11 books that I attribute a very big portion of skill set or money making mindset that everybody should read. So those are like the 11 foundational books. And people can look at the list there. That's where I would start. Number 2 is figure out what type of lane in business I want to take. So you can take one of 3 lanes: digital product, physical product, or service. Service, a lot of time involved in sweat equity, right? But the startup cost is low. Product, you're going to have inventory, supply chain, a lot more logistics, but has a decent ability of scalability. And you also have the ability to use TikTok organic as a means of traffic for a physical product. And then you have your digital product, which is similar to the physical, but with no inventory, everything's happening online. I would recommend people find a product that they can provide value in or sell in the marketplace in one of those 3 areas: services, physical products, or digital products. Figure out how to make money in one of those lanes. Do not spend that money, right? Because that money is income earned, right? And income earned is money that gets invested.
It's a tool.
The money that you make from your work is not money that gets spent. That's why when I go with other people that, let's say, can't afford a $20,000 watch, to buy a $20,000 watch, to them it feels like a lot. Why?
Because they earned it with their time, the hours.
Because they calculate it not on the dollar amount, but on the amount of time that it would take them to earn that. So they're calculating based off of time, but so am I. So if it took me 1 hour or 2 hours or a day to make that 20,000, I'm like, oh, sounds good. 1 day worth of work. I got the Rolex. Yeah. Whereas another person's like 60 years worth of work to get the Rolex. They're going to perceive it as intrinsically more valuable and a bigger deal. So what I need to do is, how can I maximize my output by reducing the amount of input? And the way I'm going to do that is by hustling in a vacuum of time, right? Working really hard, deploying that money so that money multiplies, cashing out in a generous way, in a way that you're not greedy. Generous, what do I mean by generous? Generous with yourself. You cash out and you put money in the bank. You don't leave it in the house playing. That's what generous means. Put it in the bank, take profit, you get out. And then you start the cycle again. Like, it's very simple. It's called the cycle of creating, multiplying, and preserving wealth. I'm writing a book about it. And I teach people these cycles that happen at a micro level and at a macro level. And I've been able to identify a couple of these cycles, and so have other successful people. And if you can find these cycles, then you can make money.
So this is kind of a personal question, right? Because I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, because I already have a bunch of money stacked up. Missed the run of crypto a little bit last time, right? Had some Cardano, whatever, stuff like that. made some money, but I want to cash out this time. What should I do? Right? What should I be looking for? Who should I
For
be?
you
What
personally?
should I be studying?
Okay, for you personally?
Yeah,
Or do you want me to make it for the audience?
whatever you want.
I'll make it for you personally. So for you personally, you should develop your social presence and your social awareness in a way whereby people respect you in such a way where the deal flow comes into into your awareness or into your vicinity.
Understood.
So build your personal brand, build your network so that you're not out here buying projects on exchanges and tokens on exchanges, but you're in those deals ahead of time.
Got it.
So this is where you go from hustler to boss. Like that's the transition where it's now I'm going to build my personal brand, not just to make the money that is going to get me the penthouse, but because it's going to position me to get into the room that is going to give me the 100xer when I put in 50 grand. That's the play. And that's the mindset I would say for you based off of missing the next cycle, but wanting to capitalize on the next one. You got to be able to get into the projects and getting into the rooms and getting into the deals before they hit exchanges, before they hit mainstream.
It's super interesting. This whole thing, one of my friends that I met, actually I was living in Brazil at the time, and he's from Switzerland, and he's been in crypto for a long time, like 2015, or relative long time for a young guy, 2015. And my personal brand that I had built helped me meet him through a guy that he knew, and the guy messaged me, followed me on Twitter, whatever, meet these guys. And then he's all day just looking at the charts all day long, every day, 4chan, wherever you can get information, and ended up giving us a signal for anti-Federal Reserve coin, ERSDL. It pumped super hard, made a bunch of money. I mean, it didn't take profit because I'm an idiot, but I was not making the best decisions for me there, being conscious of my verbiage. But it's just funny how that works. And really, like, to me, everything that you're saying and you're talking about, everything starts up here in self-education. Like, at the end of the day, all life is just information arbitrage. And it's really funny too, you see in the internet space where people think that, like, for example, they'll look at somebody who is selling an info product, right? And they're like, oh, that's a scam. Why would he be teaching me this?
Well, that's a scam.
Well, it's just funny because they view it the complete opposite way. I mean, there's probably some bad ones out there, definitely are, but like, they're not viewing these things from a lens of how can I arbitrage the best information? Because if you had that, you're like, for example, whoever found that seed oils were bad first they have a massive information arbitrage, and all these different verticals, whether it's crypto or whether it's Facebook ads in 2015, who can find the best ideas fastest, and that creates all of the value. And it's just a really interesting, hearing you talk is like really cementing that idea in my head that everything in this world is just who can find the most scarce information.
Well, we talk about it all the time,
meet it with
right?
demand.
Well, our businesses, because my agency grew personal brands on Instagram and monetize them with info products, right? And we've been able to arbitrage that information because we were in the game gathering the information ourselves, building the theme pages, doing all that into this product now, which is our consulting product that nobody else has. And we have a process that nobody else has because the people that are even trying to compete with us are a year behind because we've put that distance between ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that's a perfect example of it.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, the way you're describing all of these things is just like really resonating with me. It's all information arbitrage. Same thing with me with like, I have a fitness company, and that's really how I got started before I was building brands on the internet and got really good at marketing and content, all these different things. That's why I was successful. Like, I had information arbitrage. I knew things like GOTA or like some of this esoteric health stuff, eating raw food or carnivorous sort of animal-based sort of stuff. Like, I had access to that niche information before everyone else did, which therefore made that information valuable.
Marketing hit way harder.
Yeah, it hits way harder. It's really interesting. How do you think, so you mentioned positioning your personal brand to be able to let that deal flow come to you, and to me, information networks being really the only thing who can find the best information. I want to hear the intention behind how you position yourself so that these things happen? And how do you, go and find that scarce information, or where do you look to be able to have that arbitrage for yourself?
I pay the smartest people. That's it. Money talks. Like, I know it sounds insane, but I pay informants for information. People that work at companies, I pay them for information. Like, it's not illegal. It's not wrong. Hey, what's happening? And I'm not talking about just investing. I'm talking about just in general. Money talks. So you go to a restaurant, you pay the security guy, you pay the host, and you pay the server $100 each. Now, and every time I go to that restaurant, I don't have to wait. Now, for you guys, why is that guy gonna give $300? For me, it's like, well, I give $300. Now I save 20 minutes every time I go there, and everybody knows me. So it's not just information arbitrage, but it's also positioning arbitrage. Understanding that the information is important, but you must act on the information. You need to position yourself. You need to utilize it. There's a lot of information out there as to how to succeed or how to do well or how to get to the next level. But it's extremely important to not only understand the information, but understand how to position yourself, because both people may know that at the final destination of the race, right, there's the medal or the prize. Two people may have the information, but one starts 50 yards ahead. The position is at an advantage.
No.
So it's not just information arbitrage, but it's also positioning arbitrage. And if you can combine both, for example, what is a positioning arbitrage? Let's say you're Chinese, right? Positioning arbitrage, you get a better communication relationship with the supply chain, with the suppliers, right? So you have a positioning arbitrage, not just an information arbitrage because of language, but also a geographic arbitrage. So what do? Instead of going out and figuring out how I can get a third party logistics company to work with me through AliExpress, I literally just go find and pay somebody who's already positioned and has the information in China to be my personal middleman. So now I have a right-hand woman literally going to Shanghai ports and telling me what are the hottest products that are being shipped in and out of the country. It's like, the fuck am I going to do product research? My product research is on a different level, brother. I'm product researching the inventory, the count of the boxes that are going out and figuring out what is viral, what is working, what is not working ahead of time. What are the factories producing? I know it sounds insane, but it's not insane because people are doing this at the next level. Let me give you the example. There's a billionaire known as Ray Dalio. And what this billionaire did was he was going to make an investment into an oil company. He was trying to make investments in the oil space. I don't know if it was directly buying oil or selling oil, but it was a big trade that involved oil. So what do you think? This guy hops on TradingView and looks at the oil charts to make a decision? No. What he does is he shoots satellites into space and he calculates the oil containers based off of the lids that move up and down because they move based off of the levels of the oil, what the oil supply is in the oil containers based off of the imagery of the satellites. And he makes his investment decisions based off of that. Like a fucking G. What, am I not going to try and emulate that? You think I'm going to be small-minded like you peasants? Not you guys, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And be in that situation where, like, I'm not going to limit myself, brother. Like, I'm going to get creative. I'm going to figure out ways to do this.
And there's always a way. There's always a way.
And there's many ways to the top of the mountain. There's not just one way. If this way doesn't work, there must be another. There has to be another way. There's infinite possibilities and the infinite of possibilities. So it's your inability to think outside of the box that we talked about in the beginning that keeps you kind of limited, which is why you said, like, I got to get out of the box. When we started, you're like, oh, the apartment, the pet, like the nice house.
Oh, yeah, it feels like a shoebox, right? Like
it's good, but it's a box. Yeah, you got to get out of the box, bro. I agree. The mental box.
The mental box.
The limiting box. So that's my thought, bro. That's I think that's pretty good. I think people like this one.
Yeah, I think so too. I want to know now, you mentioned you're at the top of the mountain because you've created.
I'm not at the top of the mountain, brother.
Well, I think you objectively did.
I just started.
did say that, but you did say you were at the top of the mountain, which is why I said that.
Oh, the
But
top. Oh, okay. Yeah,
like
that was an analogy.
yeah,
For
for
the,
sure, for sure.
For the students of the dojo.
No, so I wanted to hear, but this leads into my question. Perfect. I want to hear what your current mountain is. You mentioned self-development. Like, what does it look like from here? Where do you take?
Are you still running a lot of like the dropshipping
No,
stores and stuff?
no,
Okay.
no. I'm out of e-commerce. I have a few little projects in e-commerce that are brands, but I don't spend my time on physical products right now. After supply chain with COVID was kind of like fucked. I'm looking for bigger moves. Remember, I'm not doing the 10K, 20K, 30K
Yeah.
days anymore. Like I'm ready for the big deals. If it's not $10 million plus, don't talk to me. I don't care. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want it in my vicinity. It's haram. If it's less than 10, don't bring it to me. Why? Because I don't need it. Like I don't need to go get $1 million deal.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people go get that $1 million deal. Go get that $100,000 deal. But for you, maybe going and getting that $500 deal is not worth your time. Don't go do it. Right? So somebody hit me up today, like, "Oh, I'm going to give you 10. I want to give you 10 grand to be on my podcast." I'm like, you can't buy my time. What the fuck you mean? Like 10, no, bro. No, my time's worth more. So it's kind of having that limitation, that perspective that people evaluate their hour and they don't consider what it's worth. You see all these guys and they're like, "Oh yeah, I made $1 million this year." Yeah, but you were in your office 24/7, grinding your face off, deteriorating your health, deteriorating your mental game, no relationships, no balance. I'll make 700,000 and be out in the sun, jacked, having a good time, shredded, feeling good, eating healthy. It's what you want in life. And it's kind of finding that balance. And I'm not saying that you can't do it with a lot of money or not. What I'm conveying is the more responsibilities that you take on, the harder it becomes for you to develop the balanced lifestyle. And if you don't do it at the basic level, what makes you think that you're going to do it later? Like if you can't control your eating habits now, how are you going to control your eating habits when you're worth millions and millions of dollars and you can get whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want? You're going to end up looking like the guy from the Bank of International Settlements that's trying to push that CBDC that looks like a fat fuck.
Yeah.
Right? So no offense, but that's the truth. So in my opinion, people just got to wake the fuck up, brother. It's a new season.
I'd love to hear more because you mentioned the Bank of International Settlements. It's something that I know about. Not a lot of people talk about that. Not a lot of people mention stuff like that. The bank that owns all the banks, right? What was your obviously probably crypto, right? Kind of that got you into that space a little bit more. But what do you look at where CBDCs are going, where digital currency is going, and what they're doing, and things like that? Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Whoever provides value in the marketplace does not need to worry about what currency is in circulation. They will continue to make money. Dude, I don't care if it's a CBDC, if it's a QVC, if it's a QR code. I don't care. I will adapt to the times, and you can't fight it, dude. It's a machine. It's like trying to go against the Matrix, and you're an individual with no superpowers and nothing. You're not going to be able to do it, but you can be allocated in different places around the world. You can be diversified. You can be intelligent. You can, I know it sounds insane, but you can have multiple houses and multiple passports and multiple geographic locations where you move. Be nomadic. Be kind of like a pirate under no one jurisdiction, right? And I think that's a life where you kind of have a little bit more freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if you don't do anything crazy or illegal, you shouldn't honestly be worrying about it. A lot of people's lives aren't going to really change. It's more so for the individuals that actually have a lot of money where this is actually going to make a significant difference. But I think businesses are still going to operate as normal. This idea of having AI kind of take over the world, I don't see it in the foreseeable future in our lifetime. I don't see it in our lifetime. There's a lot of technological advancements, and we're not calculating that a lot of these things are run by people.
Yeah.
And that people make flaws and there's mistakes and there's delays. And look at what they were saying 100 years ago of where we were going to be in the future, like flying in rocket ships and stuff like that around here, and it hasn't happened. Like bitches are on TikTok and on OnlyFans. Like that's where we are in society right now. All right, so like it is what it is. So where are we going to be in 100 years? I don't know, but I'm not worried about 100 years. I'm just doing what I got to do now and making sure that the skills that I develop
I love that.
are not replaceable by AI. Figure out what can AI not replace. There's things that AI cannot replace. What are they? But they're going to replace the guy that's out here inputting numbers on the Excel spreadsheet. The chick that's checking your bag in at the airport. She's going to be replaced by AI. So that's the danger for those people. What's going to happen with those people? Well, they're already going to want to put them on universal income because they can't sustain themselves. So they have to create a fake currency that kind of sustains the ecosystem. These guys are kind of winging it as it goes. It's the truth. So these guys are winging it, but they're a lot more powerful. They're a lot more calculated, and they are a lot more resourceful than we think. And if one person thinks that they can go up against the system, they don't really understand the system that they're up against. So just focus on leveling up, G. It's the name of the game. Put your head down and get to work.
I love it. Yeah, I like just hearing their perspectives. We've talked about that on the pod a few different times where it's like it's good to have a peripheral awareness of these things, but it's not really good. It's not really good to deploy energy to it. Yeah.
Because your attention where attention where energy flows, attention goes, and where attention goes, energy flows. Right? So where's your attention? That attention will willingly or unwillingly deploy energy, life force. So are you going to be expending your life force focusing on somebody else's life, dreams, ambitions, problems? I don't give a fuck about what anybody else is doing. How hard is it to understand? I don't watch people's stories on Instagram. I don't give a damn. Like, I don't care about anybody's fucking pancake at the souffle shop and whatever, dude. I don't give a damn. I'm living my own reality. And people are out here worrying about what I do. Don't worry about what I do. Watch the podcast and go fucking level up. Go touch some grass. Go do a handstand. Go eat some organic oranges. Mm-hmm. Go drink some chlorophyll and some sparkling water or some spring water and go read a book. Stop being a depressed piece of shit. It's a choice. And if you don't think it's a choice, so be it. It's not a choice. And that's how you'll live your life, like an accident. But the people that want to make it out and they want to win at life, got to grab life by the fucking balls, bro. Own that shit.
My voice spitting right now.
For real. This whole pod just spitting straight bars. I want to hear more about like cause you have a really, really unique perspective. I want to know like what you are, I know you mentioned if it's not a $10 million play, you don't want to touch it. Like, can you talk more about maybe what things you're considering for that big play, or even what
venture capital. Okay. So just deploying my money into good vehicles of multiplication. So betting on winners at smaller plays. But it's just a family office. I don't like taking other people's money. I don't like having gold handcuffs saying I venture for people. I run a fund. No, I run my own shit. I do my own thing. I'm not accountable to anybody. I don't touch anybody's money. I run my own family office. I'm a team members in my family office, and those that run my venture. So that's pretty much how I operate. Multiplication at this point. Like I said in the beginning, working is for the working class and ruling is for the ruling class. I'm not saying I'm ruling class. I'm not saying I'm working class, but both people are conditioned to do one thing, right? Yeah. So if I'm conditioned to be a worker and it's not fucking working and I can't seem to live a full life and stuff, and I'm always trying to scrape by, then something about this thinking model is wrong. Maybe I should learn a thing or two of these guys that run everything.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple things.
What about more personally, like, jack of all trades? You want to learn everything. Like, what are you working on more personally?
Jack of all trades is this idea of I'm not focused on one vertical. So yeah, I divide life into 4 categories.
Okay.
They're quite well known, but it's broken down in a good format: health, wealth, love, and happiness.
Ty Lopez.
So you have. Well, it transcends Ty.
I know. It's funny from the ads and stuff. Need him all the time.
So when you break down health, you have to break it down into physical, mental, spiritual, right? So you have those 3 health facets. Within that, you also have wealth, right? So what is wealth by definition? People think that wealth is money, but what money is not wealth? Wealth is abundance. So what does it mean to live an abundant lifestyle? Right. So I have my health in check as a foundational plate for all of what I'm going to build on my life. So unless I have health, I don't have anything else. You can have a loving girl or a great relationship, a ton of money, but if you don't have health, you have nothing, right? Look at Steve Jobs, dead in his 50s, right? He built $1 trillion company, but didn't have his health. Okay, and so health, wealth, love, which is relational, personal, and mental, how you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, and then relationships that you hold. And then happiness. And I think happiness isn't this idea of being happy all the time, but it could be translated to purposeful living. And that's a living where you wake up in the morning and you're glad to be alive. And I usually often say the wealthiest man is the one that wakes up with the least pressure on his chest. The one that wakes up in the morning is like, it's a good day. What else do you want? Doesn't matter where that is, if you can actually say that with true, genuine, like, honesty, with all the areas of your life checked, not being unhealthy in your bed, sick, and being like, it's a good day. No, it ain't a good day, right? It ain't a good day. Pragmatically speaking. And I think that is a great definition for what it means to live successful living as a jack of all trades. What that looks like is different for every person. For one person, it may be CrossFit. For another person, it may be calisthenics. For another person, it may be the carnivore diet. For this person, maybe vegan. That's the beauty of the world, is that, like I said before, there's many ways to the top of the mountain. And once you arrive to that mountain, you realize that there's other mountains to climb. Right? And you're like, oh shit, I'm still at the base.
Is there any, like, in any of those different verticals or facets of life, do you have one that you're more intentionally working on right now? Or I would love to hear, like, I love that you're breaking it down in such a modular way and like breaking down your perspective on creating it. But like, what is the specific focus for you right now in this season of life as you're dominating side quests?
The big one for health is understanding that movement is freedom. So if we turned over the cameras and I asked you guys to do certain stretches, how to move and stuff like that, it would give me an understanding as to how much time you actually take care of your body, right? Because pumping iron and doing like flat movements and movements that are rigid doesn't mean you're healthy. Yeah. Having big arms doesn't mean you're healthy, right? What does your gut health tell you? What does your blood work tell you? What is your oxygenation level? What are the things that you're contaminating in your body? What's your diet? What are you listening to? What water do you drink? These are all factors of health.
Yep.
And so right now I'm focused on health. What do I mean by health? Getting to a place where I'm at balance. So what do I mean by balance? Making sure that when I wake up, inside my daily lifestyle, not as a forceful thing like, oh, I got to go to the gym, that I stretch, that I sunbathe, that I eat organic, clean, whole foods, no processed garbage, as little as possible, spring water, and then spending a lot of time in oxygenated open areas. That is health, like very simple. So I don't want to be checking my phone at 11:30 at night, looking at what's happening in Yemen and the kids that are getting bombed there. As unfortunate as it is, me going to bed with that information as negative energy translates to how I'm going to sleep. How I sleep then translates into my REM cycles and translates as to how I'm going to wake up physically the next morning. So it's all compounding. So now after 10, I don't touch my phone, whether it's positive, negative, because I can control what the algorithm's going to feed me, right? So what do I need to do? I need to be the one that controls what I feed my physical health right before I go to sleep. So it's everything, bro. It's intuitive of every fucking thing that you do. Because when you see the way broadly, you will see it in all things. It translates to everything that you do. The reason you tan isn't to just be tan.
Yeah.
You tan because it makes you more fucking money. Let me explain it to you.
Well, you don't have to tell me, brother.
You get tan, you get vitamin D, you become healthy, your sleep cycles are in check, which therefore you sleep better. You're going to look healthier, you're going to look better, you're going to look more plump. You don't think all those things are going to lead you to make more money? You tanning for 15 minutes is a business play. It's a money play. But you do not perceive it with those eyes. Therefore, you see it as a chore. And that's where you lose. That's where I win. That's why I do it with passion. Because I understand that everything that I do is a culmination of the outcome of my life. Everything that I eat, every push-up that I do equals outcomes in life. All of it. So it goes beyond like the things. It's just a way of being, dude.
Oh no, I love it.
Yeah.
It's I was like kind of, I guess maybe fishing for some of those specific things, and it's really
It
interesting.
morphs every day. That's the thing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's really interesting too hearing these specific health things, because that's like before I ever had any money at all. That's what I was really doing. That's what I built the majority of my brand off of.
Yeah,
It
sick.
was a lot of like movement stuff, injury prevention, like joint health.
Which is so important, dude.
So important
Because people neglect that shit.
100%. And I think that, now as I've transitioned and learned and become better in figuring out like the money game and being an entrepreneur, like those things give you so much of an edge, because now you're operating with so much more, like, to person A and person B. Person A could even have more entrepreneurial spirit, or even like me, right? Like, it's funny to look at myself when, 2 years ago, when I was doing all of that stuff constantly, because I didn't really have that much going on. I was just training, I was just sun tanning, I was really working on how my joints feel and what things I'm doing in the gym that create a holistic functioning body. Then you take that energy and that spirit into anything you're going to do from a business lens, and it's like automatically 10 times more effective, because there's swagger, there's force behind it.
You always, if you ever see anyone like with money that's like out of shape, pasty, not tanned, that they're maybe fat, they, they just don't eat healthy. There's something not in line there.
Well, they're not in line. This idea that being extremely overweight is a natural state. It is not a natural state. That is a new man phenomenon.
And you subconsciously know it.
Yep.
People that weighed 250, 300 pounds, 150, 200 years ago were part of circus shows. I'm not making this up. They were circus freaks. I'm not saying you're a circus freak. We live in a different world, but we live in a fucking circus. So there's circus freaks everywhere. And I'm not saying that there aren't people that have genetic predispositions and that doesn't exist. But what I'm saying is, if you're out here eating fucking McDonald's every single day and you feel like shit, it's because you're eating shit. So you are what you eat. So if you're out here eating shit, what are you? Fill in the blank.
Shit. Yeah.
I love it. I'm gonna send you a bunch of like esoteric health and fitness
I'm
stuff.
down, bro. I'm down.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff for you. Yeah, I mean, this has been great.
I feel like we could go way deeper on a lot of things.
Yeah,
We could keep this running for a couple hours, but
it's
it's
getting
been
a
a
little
good
dark.
one.
It's
It's
getting
been a
a little
good season one.
season one. Yeah, I mean, as we're wrapping up, want to be cognizant of your time and stuff like that. Like, is there any last message that you would want to share with the associates of the associates?
Don't fuck up your life. Don't fuck it up. That's it. Like, don't fuck up your life.
I
What
love.
else do you want me to tell you? It's your choice.
Perfect. That camera went out? Okay. Guys, that was episode 25?
25.
Episode 25 of the Associates Podcast. Luke's links in the description. You guys already know who he is. All our links are in the description. Go check him out.
Thanks for
join the Telegram. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Pleasure.
It's fire. Great
And,
session.
yeah, we'll see you guys later.